Hi, Chris Cole here with Sweet Valley Hives, and we are going to do a video about supering, and specifically supering a Warre hive. But we'll talk in general first about supering, and most people who've had bees already know that supering is really just the act of putting a compartment on top of your current hive to allow the bees to come up into it and preferably just produce honey. Now, I want to put up a couple pictures here just so we can establish, if you're new to beekeeping, establish what a standard honeycomb formation looks like in general. What you're going to see here is on these pictures, each one of these shows you that on the comb structure, the uppermost portion of the comb structure is your honey, where the brood usually is the lower portion, and the pollen oftentimes sits in between the brood and the comb. That's in a typical traditional construct. Now, it could be, there's probably 1,000,001 exceptions to that, but in general, you can usually say that the honey is going to be at the top of the comb, and at the top of the comb, and that goes for a Langstroth hive, top bars, Warres, anywhere. The bees will always put the honey at the top. So, if we look at that and consider what happens when we start supering, let's look at this comb structure now. Let's draw it out. And if you take just a traditional top bar and the comb, and we consider this to be the honey, okay? What we wanted to do here at Sweet Valley Hives specifically is we wanted to develop a compartment, okay, a super, and let's use a different color here, where they take this portion here is what we call the honey band. That's just our words. I don't think that's an industry word. We just call it the honey band. And the idea was, can we make a compartment that is small enough where the bees will migrate up into it and start building comb, but all they bring with it is the honey. Okay, so it becomes just honey. If it's too large, they're going to also start bringing up brood. So we experimented with a number of different sizes and found that this current size, which is about 4 inches or so, and it sits on top, is just large enough where the bees will migrate up and fill it with honey. That's all we've experienced so far, is all we've gotten out of is honey. Now again, there can be 1,000,000 exceptions to this. You can always have bees that will do something different, and like I said in previous videos, we can't guarantee the behavior of an insect, and so all I can tell you is the evidence we've had and the experience we've had with this is that this works extremely well. And the nice thing about it is we've put it on directly after an install. We've put it on to colonies that have survived the winter, and we put it on right in the spring. Doesn't matter, you can always get 2 harvests out of it over the course of the year, and that's in northeastern Pennsylvania where we're keeping our bees. In southern climates where you have a longer season, you might get 3 harvests out of it. And when you harvest honey out of the Warre Super, you're going to get probably anywhere from 10 to 15 pounds. It's a very manageable amount of honey, and it lasts a long time depending on your usage, and it comes out of comb that has never had brood in it. So the nice part about this, you're going to love what it looks like when you start harvesting this. Now, one question that's going to come about is what happens if we just take an extra box? Instead of using a small super like this, what if we just put a regular box up here and super with a regular box? And I believe Warre himself actually tried this. Here's what happens. Okay? So you have your regular box here, and the bees have drawn comb into it. Okay, so it's all filled, and then you go ahead and you put on a full-size box. Okay? One of 3 things is going to happen. The first thing is they can ignore it completely. They won't move up into it. It'll just be a big empty space, and as you get towards winter, that's going to be a whole bunch of space that they're going to need to heat, and so nothing happens. Well, obviously you put this on there, you want something to happen. So the second thing that can happen is that they'll actually start building comb from the bottom up. Okay? You don't want that. That's just a complete mess. It's impossible to inspect. it's just a mess. So they're going to start building comb from the bottom up. The third thing that's going to happen is that they'll come up and just recreate the comb structure that they have down here. But when they do that, it's going to be the same as what you have below. You're going to have honey, and then you're going to have brood. So you're going to have the identical structure that you have down below, which brings up the question, why would you even do it in the first place? Because once you put it up here, you got about a 30% chance that they're going to fill it correctly. And when they do, all they're going to do is give you what you have below anyway. If your objective is to try and super just for honey, your best bet is to go with a much smaller compartment. Now you can build your own if you want, or you can come to sweetvalleyhives.com and order one from us. It is full 1-inch thick Western red cedar, and it does have top bars. Each one will have a wax-coated comb guide. You're not going to see sides on there. There's no point in putting sides in such a small compartment, but we do put comb guides on here to help keep the comb straight, and also, more importantly, to encourage the bees to come up and start building. That is it for the Sweet Valley Hives Warre Super. I'm Chris Cole with Sweet Valley Hives. Check us out at sweetvalleyhives.com or on Facebook at Sweet Valley Hives. Thanks for watching.